This is being called a once-in-a-generation storm. The threat of heavy snow, ice, and dangerously high winds has already prompted some states to declare a state of emergency.
This is really a very serious weather alert here.
Cancelled.
Every year we try to spend Christmas or Thanksgiving or something like that together, just to keep the family connected. So it's really important.
And many of those staying home are bracing for record-breaking cold temperatures.
If you're not bundled up, if you don't have gloves, a hat, a nice pair of boots, probably some unders, some long johns or whatnot, you will be cold.
The storm is sweeping through the central United States and heading east. Forecasters warn millions more will face harsh weather in the coming days.
Matthew Capucci is a meteorologist based in Washington, D.C. Matthew, just how bad is this storm?
So this storm is bad for many different reasons. Number one, it's a bombogenetic cyclone, or a bomb cyclone, basically a storm that's rapidly intensifying to the point that it vacuums in air from all different sides. Now, on the eastern side, up and down the eastern seaboard, i.e. Washington, D.C., Baltimore, Philadelphia, New York, Boston, those areas are seeing a lot of rainfall, up to about 5 or 6 centimeters, and very strong winds in New England gusting upwards of 90 kilometers per hour. So that's high impact up there. And we'll also see a flash freeze tomorrow, which would cause major issues on the roadways. Off to the west, on the backside of the system, frigid Siberian air is wrapping down to the backside, with temperatures falling back to about minus 40 or lower Celsius. And again, that's Celsius, so very impressive stuff, with wind chills of minus 50 Celsius. In between, the two air masses clash, you get snow, and with the wind, blizzard conditions. So a travel nightmare for the roughly 110 million Americans that have to travel about 80 kilometers or more this holiday.
How dangerous is it when temperatures drop that low?
Well, when temperatures get that low, it's to the point where the human body can't really function unless they're inside a shelter. So one of the big pieces of advice we've been giving folks is that if they're driving, have an emergency kit in the car. You simply can't survive these kind of temperatures if you're not prepared. All it takes is your vehicle to break down. If first responders can't get to you, things could become very problematic very quickly. So it's imperative folks have a way to sort of have a backup plan if need be. So that's something we're watching right now.
Should people be venturing out at all?
Ideally, no, and that's for many different reasons. On the eastern seaboard, we briefly alluded to that flash freeze. Temperatures will go from, I'd say, 3 or 4 degrees Celsius with rainfall to suddenly like 3 or 4 below 0 Celsius with ice. And so all the roadways tomorrow will freeze up and down the East Coast, causing very dangerous travel. Farther west, where the temperatures are bitterly low, as we talked about, very dangerous to travel. And in between, where you're getting snow, visibilities may only be a couple hundred meters at best. So that's dangerous to drive. And of course, the airport's seeing issues as well. Chicago and Detroit, both major hubs impacted by the snowfall. Up to 2,000 flights already canceled. It'll get worse before it gets better.
Are authorities prepared for this, would you say?
I do believe they are. So we saw this coming at least, I'd say, 6 or 7 days in advance. We knew the overall pattern was favorable for a storm. I think one of the things that we're wondering about authority-wise is whether Texas can handle the cold temperatures. Back last year in February, they saw dozens of fatalities in the entire state. Virtually about 4 million customers lost electricity because the power grid couldn't handle the cold. This time around, authorities have kind of made the tweaks they need to. Power companies have done the same thing. They're faring much better this time.
Matthew Capucci, thank you very much.
A pleasure.
Severe storms and bone-chilling cold for millions and millions of Americans this holiday weekend. And right now, many may be trying to make their way home after mass cancellations and delays made holiday travel a complete nightmare. In Buffalo, New York, nearly 4 feet of snow and bitter cold shut down the city. Officials just updated the death toll from the storm to at least 25 people and said the city of Buffalo is impassable. Mona Kosar Abdi leads us off from a city starting to dig out.
This weekend, the historic Arctic blast and winter storm sweeping across the country.
There is substantial, significant, and devastating loss of life as a result of this winter storm.
The city of Buffalo paralyzed after more than 3 feet of snow. For the first time in the city's history, the fire department not able to respond to calls.
Think about looking just a few feet in front of you at a sheet of white.
Roads blocked by vehicles stuck, rescuers even having trouble navigating the conditions. Thousands still without power and heat, drivers facing treacherous conditions across the country. This couple trapped on Interstate 71 in central Kentucky, spending Christmas in their car.
It's almost 12 hours.
Relying on the kindness of strangers for food.
We each got a water from the semi-truck driver and just the sandwich and a granola bar from him.
In Holland, Michigan, roads are littered with abandoned cars. In Illinois, several people were injured in this 8-vehicle crash.
This guy's literally so close to jackknifing. Look.
And a 50-vehicle pileup, killing 4 in Ohio.
This is a stark reminder of what can happen when you get behind the wheel and try to drive in bad weather conditions.
And Mona joins us now from Buffalo. So, Mona, you look pretty cold. It still seems to be snowing there. What's the latest on the driving ban in the city at the moment?
So, Alexis, the driving ban was supposed to be lifted at 7 a.m. this morning, but officials extended it for Buffalo and hard-hit areas because, as you mentioned, it is still snowing here for hours this morning. The snow is coming down. The wind right now is really picking up. And what that means is all this light, fluffy snow that came down overnight is being pushed back onto the roads. Now, snowplow drivers have been working around the clock to clear these roads, but a major problem that they're dealing with is that there are dozens and dozens of abandoned cars like the one behind me just littered all over the county, blocking roads, blocking intersections, and so they have to navigate around that. We're being told that they're moving the abandoned cars to lots so that they can get through the area, and also the airport is closed until Tuesday, Alexis.
Wow. So we've been hearing about these snow drifts, how people have been sort of locked in their homes because of the snow drifts. When will people be able to start digging out?
That is a good question. I know the roads right now are a priority for city officials, but just to put this into perspective for you, at one point, even the rescuers needed rescuing, and there were people that were dealing with life-threatening conditions, and there was no help on the way. And so now there's a lot of outside help coming in, and hopefully rescuers are able to navigate these roads and help and get assistance to the people that need it the most.
And Buffalo is no stranger to these major snowstorms, but you mentioned here how hard the city was hit this time. What made this storm different? What made it so devastating?
That's a good question, because you're right. Buffalo and the Great Lakes region is very used to heavy snowfall, but the difference now were a combination of factors. It was the low temperature, it was the frozen precipitation, it was also the system bringing lake effect snow into the area and creating these blizzard-like conditions. So a combination of all those factors led to what New York Governor Kathy Hochul called the most devastating storm in the history of Buffalo's history. And so we see now that the death toll is climbing. Just to put it in a perspective for you about how much of an impact that this has had on the city, the rescue efforts, as I mentioned, that rescuers weren't even able to get to those that needed help. And so some people just had to leave their cars in the middle of the road and just get out and start walking.
A tragic storm. Mona Kosar Abdi, please get inside, stay warm. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.